Bullies mock the kid's acne. 2 years later, he returns as an international model. Marcus Rivera pressed his back against his locker, hoping shadows would hide his face. Westfield High's fluorescent lights seemed designed to highlight every red bump, dotting his jawline like a cruel constellation. At 16, he carried himself like someone trying to disappear, shoulders hunched, dark hair strategically falling across his features. Just make it through today, he thought, clutching his biology textbook like armor. 2 months since moving. Here from Los Angeles, Marcus had hoped being the new kid might grant anonymity until his severe acne cleared up. The dermatologist promised improvement, but progress was painfully slow. Each morning brought the same ritual, staring at his reflection, counting angry welts that made him feel like a walking target. The first bell rang, and students flooded the hallways. Marcus kept his head down, navigating toward chemistry class, when a shoulder slammed into him, sending his textbook clattering. "Oops," came a voice dripping with false apology. "Didn't see you there, pizza face." Derek Hamilton stood over him, 6 feet of quarterback perfection with effortlessly styled blonde hair and impossibly clear skin. Behind him stood his shadows, Tyler Morrison, a stocky wrestler, and Jessica Walsh, whose beauty was razor sharp. "Maybe you should watch where you're going," Derek continued loudly, drawing attention. Several kids stopped to watch, phones already out. Marcus bent to retrieve his book, face burning. "Sorry," he mumbled. "Sorry what? I couldn't hear you through all that texture on your face." Laughter rippled through the gathering crowd. Marcus felt each giggle like a physical blow. "Don't engage, you have bigger things to worry about." "Seriously, dude, have you tried washing your face? Or is that your Halloween costume year-round?" More laughter. Camera flashes went off. They have no idea, Marcus thought, strange calm settling over him as he stood to his full height. At 6'2", he was actually taller than Derek, though his slouch usually hid this. They have absolutely no idea. Derek's smirk faltered briefly as Marcus revealed his hidden height and broad shoulders, but quickly returned. "What, you gonna cry? Maybe all those zits will pop if you get emotional." Marcus said nothing. He picked up his book and walked away, leaving Derek to his audience's approval. But several students noticed something different. Straighter posture, more purposeful stride, like someone who knew something they didn't. Chemistry class passed in a blur. Marcus's mind wandered to that morning's email from Miranda Chen at Elite Models. The anti-bullying campaign shoot had been moved up. "We love your unique look, Marcus," Miranda had said during their first LA meeting 3 months ago. "Your bone structure is incredible and your skin tells a story. We're not looking for perfect anymore, we're looking for real." Real. For years he'd seen his acne as a disability, but Miranda's team saw character, depth, authenticity that connected with audiences tired of impossibly perfect faces. The campaign hadn't launched yet, scheduled for next month. Until then, Marcus was contractually bound to secrecy. The agency wanted an organic, powerful reveal. They had no idea how powerful it was about to become. Lunch arrived like daily execution. The cafeteria was a social minefield where hierarchies ruled seating choices. Marcus grabbed a turkey sandwich, scanning for the least visible corner. He almost made it. "Well, look who's eating in public," Derek's voice carried across the room. "Brave choice, crater face. Most people with skin like yours stick to bathroom stalls." The cafeteria quieted as students turned to watch. Marcus froze mid-stride, tray trembling. Tyler laughed. "Maybe he's matching his face to his food. Turkey sandwich, turkey face. So gross," Jessica added theatrically. "How does he even look in mirrors? I'd literally never leave my house." Marcus stood center stage, every eye watching, feeling like a specimen under microscope. Familiar shame crept up his spine, but underneath, something else built. Something growing stronger with every casting call, every photographer who saw potential instead of problems. "You're booked for 3 major campaigns next month," he reminded himself. "Guess Calvin Klein and Nivea anti-bullying. You're literally the face of accepting yourself exactly as you are." But still, he said nothing. Not yet. Timing was everything. Derek stood, addressing the cafeteria like a performer. "Hey everyone, let's start a collection to help Marcus afford serious skincare. Industrial-strength sandpaper might work." Louder laughter. A sophomore pulled out her phone, recording, "This is so going on TikTok." Something inside Marcus shifted, not broke, shifted, like a fault line, adjusting to pressure. They want a show. They have no idea what show they're about to get, but not today. Today he'd endure. Let them think they'd won. Because Marcus had learned in modeling, timing was everything. He ate his sandwich in corner, silence while Derek performed. But students noticed Marcus no longer looked afraid. He looked patient, like someone waiting for exactly the right moment. The afternoon passed quietly, but damage was done. Half the school had seen the cafeteria. A video. Marcus found a crude drawing taped to his locker, a stick figure with red-dotted face labeled pepperoni. Tomorrow, he thought, crumpling the paper. Tomorrow changes everything. That evening, Marcus video-chatted with Miranda. His half-unpacked room contained boxes and old posters, but his desk held something new, a portfolio of stunning modeling, shots where his acne was prominently, powerfully displayed. The Nivea campaign launches Monday morning, Miranda said. Every major platform, 17 magazines, commercial Tuesday, ready for your life to change dramatically. Marcus nodded. More than ready. Remember, this is about authenticity, showing kids beauty comes in all forms. Your story will inspire thousands who feel exactly like you did. After hanging up, Marcus stared in his bedroom mirror. The same red bumps that made him a target stared back, but for the first time in years, he didn't look away. He smiled. Not because his skin was perfect, but because he finally understood it didn't need to be. Friday morning arrived grey and drizzling. Marcus walked through Westfield's doors with quiet determination, but today felt different. Like a countdown. Derek waited at his locker with Tyler, Jessica, and reinforcements, students holding phones ready to document planned humiliation. Morning, pizza face, Derek called. Sleep well, or did your pillow stick to your face? Crowd laughter. Marcus opened his locker calmly. You know what I'm thinking? Maybe homeschooling. For everyone else's appetite. Hard to eat lunch looking at walking pepperoni pizza. Marcus closed his locker, turned to face Derek directly for the first time since starting Westfield. The movement was fluid, confident. Students immediately noticed the change. Is that really your best? Marcus asked quietly. Derek blinked, thrown off. What? The insults. Your best material? I've heard more creative put-downs from middle schoolers. Murmurs through the crowd. This wasn't expected from the quiet acne kid. Derek reddened. Listen, create a face. No, Marcus interrupted calmly but with new edge. You listen. You've spent 2 months thinking you know something about me. You don't. You don't know anything at all. Complete hallway silence. Even passing students stopped. What? I know, Derek sputtered, is you're a freak who shouldn't be in public. Marcus smiled then, real smile transforming his entire face. That's where you're wrong. Instead of elaborating, he walked away, leaving Derek's group in confused silence. Around the corner, Marcus texted Miranda, Go ahead and post it early. I'm ready now. Response came within minutes. Posted across all platforms 5 minutes ago. Buckle up, superstar. 4 hours until the Nivea campaign gained serious social media traction. 4 hours before classmates would see his face on their Instagram feeds, TikTok accounts, Snapchat stories. 4 hours before Derek Hamilton realized he'd been mocking an internationally contracted model. He spent those hours in classes, occasionally checking his phone as the campaign spread. Numbers were already impressive. 50,000 Instagram likes in the first hour, commercial sharing rapidly on TikTok, fashion bloggers picking up the story. By lunch, Marcus could see students looking at phones with confused expressions, whispering, showing screens, pointing his direction uncertainly. Marcus got his usual lunch and walked toward his corner table. But this time he didn't hide. This time, shoulders back, head high, every inch of his 6'2" frame, projecting camera-learned confidence. Derek was standing when Marcus reached cafeteria center. Look who thinks he's hot stuff today, Derek announced, but his voice lacked usual swagger. Several students stared at phones instead of laughing. Derek, Marcus said, stopping mid-cafeteria, setting his tray down. I want to thank you. Thank me? Derek's voice cracked. Yes, for 2 months you've given me free publicity. Every insult, every joke, every video your friends posted, you've been building anticipation for this moment. Marcus pulled out his phone, holding it up so the screen was visible to the growing crowd. On it, the Nivea campaign ad featuring his face, acne clearly visible, under bold text, real skin, real confidence, real beauty. As of this morning, Marcus continued, voice carrying through the now silent cafeteria. I'm the face of Nivea's international anti-bullying campaign. I'm also contracted with Guess, Calvin Klein, and have 3 more campaigns launching next month. Deafening silence. Students frantically checked their phones, finding the ads, seeing Marcus's face staring back from their feeds. Derek's face went pale. That's not real, you're lying. Marcus walked closer, close enough only Derek could hear. Check Instagram, check TikTok, check any social media platform, then check the Nivea website. My bio's already up. Derek fumbled for his phone with shaking hands. Tyler and Jessica crowded around, all three staring at the screen in growing horror. "This is impossible," Jessica whispered. "You want to know what's impossible?" Marcus said, voice rising so the entire cafeteria could hear. "What's impossible is you spent 2 months thinking my acne made me less than human. What's impossible is you never considered that maybe the very thing you mocked me for was exactly what made me special." He addressed the entire cafeteria now, every student hanging. "On his words, I have severe acne. It's genetic, persistent, probably staying for years, but you know what? Some of fashion's biggest names see this skin and see authenticity. They see someone real, representing what actual teenagers look like, instead of impossible standards we're usually sold." A girl near the back started clapping, then another. Within seconds, the entire room applauded, and Marcus felt emotion that had nothing to do with revenge and everything to do with acceptance. But Derek wasn't finished. His humiliation transformed into anger. "You think you're so special now?" Derek shouted over applause. "You think some stupid modeling contract makes you better than us?" Clapping stopped. The cafeteria held its breath. Marcus turned back to Derek, expression hard for the first time. "No, Derek, I don't think I'm better than you. I know I'm better than you, because when you spent months trying to destroy my self-esteem, I never once tried to hurt you back. I never tried to make you feel small or worthless or ugly. That's the difference between us." Derek's face was red, hands clenched into fists. "You freak. You think anyone believes you're a model? Look at your disgusting face." "My disgusting face," Marcus said calmly, "is currently being seen by approximately 2 million people across 6 countries as part of a campaign about celebrating differences and ending bullying. What's your face doing, Derek? Besides turning red because you're embarrassed?" The crowd had grown larger, everyone filming. Marcus could see teachers noticing the commotion, moving closer. Derek raised his fist, and Marcus thought he might actually throw a punch. But Tyler grabbed Derek's arm. "Dude, stop. Everyone's recording. This is going everywhere." Derek looked around at the sea of phones pointed at him, finally realizing his situation's magnitude. He was no longer the powerful bully picking on the weak acne kid. He was the ignorant teenager who'd been mocking an internationally recognized model. "This isn't over," Derek muttered, voice lacking conviction. "Yes, it is," Marcus replied simply. "It's been over since you decided my worth was determined by my skin. You just didn't know it yet." Derek and his followers slunk away, humiliation complete. But Marcus wasn't finished. He addressed the entire cafeteria one final time. "I want everyone here to understand something. For 2 months, most of you watched Derek and friends make my life miserable. You laughed, recorded, shared videos. Some probably felt bad but didn't speak up because it was easier going along with the crowd. Different silence now, heavier. I'm not angry about that, but I want you to think about what just happened. You all learned the kid you thought was worthless is actually successful enough to have a major international modeling contract. But here's the important part. My worth didn't change between yesterday and today. I was just as valuable yesterday when you thought I was nobody special." Students looked down at phones, seemingly embarrassed. "Next time you see someone being bullied for their skin, weight, clothes, accent, whatever, remember this moment. Remember you have no idea what that person might become, what they might already be, or what they're capable of. But more importantly, remember, their value as a human being has nothing to do with whether they're successful or not." Marcus picked up his tray, walked to his corner table. But this time, he wasn't alone. 3 students asked to sit with him, and by lunch period's end, his table was full of kids previously too intimidated by Derek's terror reign to reach out. As afternoon wore on, news spread throughout Westfield High. Teachers who'd previously overlooked Derek's behavior suddenly seemed more attentive to classroom bullying. Students who'd been Derek's victims felt emboldened, speaking up. The social hierarchy that seemed carved in stone began shifting. Marcus's phone buzzed constantly with Instagram followers, TikTok views, teen magazine interview requests. Miranda, called twice, thrilled the campaign was exceeding wildest expectations. "You handled that perfectly," she said. "Confident without cruel, powerful without petty. Exactly the role model we wanted." But the real test came day's end, when Marcus walked to his locker to find Derek waiting. This time, Derek was alone. "I just wanted to say," Derek began, then stopped, struggling with words he'd probably never said before. Marcus waited patiently. "I didn't know," Derek finally managed. "About the modeling thing. Would it have mattered," Marcus asked, "if you had known?" Derek considered this, perhaps for the first time really thinking about his actions. "I don't know, maybe." "That's honest, at least." Awkward silence before Derek spoke again. I saw comments on your Instagram, people calling you inspiring, saying you'll help other kids feel better about themselves. Marcus nodded. That's the idea. I made fun of you for 2 months straight. Doesn't that make you angry? Marcus considered seriously. It makes me sad. Not for me, but for you. Because you spent all that time trying to make me feel bad about something that was actually going to make me successful. And you did it because you thought tearing someone else down would make you feel better about yourself. That's not anger-inducing. That's just sad. Derek flinched like he'd been slapped. So, what happens now? Now you decide what kind of person you want to be. You can keep being the guy who makes others feel small or learn from this and become someone better. That's not my choice to make. Derek nodded slowly, walked away without another word. Marcus watched him go, feeling neither triumphant nor vindictive. He felt something more complex, hopeful. Over the weekend, the Nivea campaign exploded across social media. Real Skin, Real Beauty began trending on TikTok, with thousands of teenagers sharing their own acne struggles and bullying stories. Marcus's Instagram following jumped from hundreds to over 50,000, with messages pouring in from kids worldwide, thanking him for showing them their skin didn't define their worth. Monday morning at Westfield felt like entering a different school entirely. Students who'd never acknowledged Marcus before smiled and waved in hallways. Sophomore girls approached his locker, asking for selfies. The drama teacher asked if he'd be interested in auditioning for the spring play. Most significant change was Derek. Marcus watched as the former bully struggled navigating a social environment where his cruel comments were no longer tolerated or laughed at. Other students began calling him out when he made mean remarks, and his follower circle gradually dispersed as they realized association with Derek was becoming more liability than asset. 2 weeks later, Marcus sat in the cafeteria at his usual table, now permanently occupied by diverse students who'd found common ground in shared experiences of feeling like outsiders. When Derek approached, "Can I talk to you?" Derek asked quietly. Marcus gestured to an empty chair. Derek sat down, ignoring surprised looks from Marcus's friends. "I've been thinking about what you said, about deciding what kind of person I want to be, and I think I want to apologize. Not just for the modeling thing, but everything. For making you feel like crap about your skin, for trying to humiliate you, for being—" he struggled with the word, "for being a bully." Marcus studied Derek's face, looking for insincerity. Found none. "Okay," Marcus said simply. "That's it?" "Okay. What did you expect? A dramatic forgiveness scene? You apologized, I accept. That doesn't mean we're best friends now, but it means we can coexist without actively trying to hurt each other." Derek nodded, looking relieved. "There's something else? I talked to my mum about everything, and she made me research bullying. I found out about this program where kids who used to be bullies can talk to schools about what it's like from the other side. I was thinking, maybe I could do that." Marcus smiled, his first genuinely warm smile directed at Derek. "That's a good idea, a really good idea. Would you maybe want to do it with me? Not right away, but eventually. I think it would be more powerful if kids heard from both sides." Marcus considered this. The idea of working with Derek to help other kids avoid the same painful experiences felt like the kind of full-circle moment that only happened in movies. But then again, his entire story felt like something out of a movie. "Let's start with you doing solo presentations. Show you're serious about this, that it's not just guilt response. If you stick with it, then yeah, maybe we can team up eventually." Derek grinned. Not his old superiority smirk, but genuine gratitude expression. "Thank you for giving me a chance to be better." As Derek walked away, Marcus felt profound completion. The scared, ashamed kid who'd walked into Westfield High 3 months ago was gone, replaced by someone who understood his worth, had never been determined by others' opinions. His acne hadn't disappeared, might never completely disappear, but it no longer felt like a prison sentence. His phone buzzed with a text from Miranda. "Guest campaign wants to extend your contract. Also, Teen Vogue wants to do a feature story about your anti-bullying work. Interested?" Marcus looked around the cafeteria at students of all types sitting together, laughing, accepting each other's differences. He thought about Derek, working to become better. He thought about thousands of messages from teenagers worldwide who said his story helped them feel less alone. He typed back, "Definitely interested. I think we're just getting started." The bell rang, signaling lunch period's end. Marcus gathered his things and headed toward his next class, walking with confidence of someone who'd learned the most important lesson of all. True strength came not from having perfect skin or perfect anything else, but from accepting yourself.